are live! Welcome to episode 4 of The Body Talks, which is a series of interviews that use the body as a starting point to have hopefully more meaningful conversations about art, body positivity, any practice that has to do with body but goes further than that. And today's guest is an amazing performer and creative movement researcher, non-binary artist. And their name is Titilayo Abedayo. And basically, I saw Titilayo. Yes, I saw them performing in Chisenhale Gallery in 2018 and connected to them because I was so into the performance, and now I have the luck of I'm Amanda of talking to them about their practice, and I'm so excited. So feel free to ask questions all along, and to ask if you have any curiosity. We're going to talk about art, performance art. We're going to talk about what does it mean to be creative and having your own performative research, as well as working with a theater full time. We're going to talk about creating art during lockdown, mental health. Let's see. Here they are. I am so excited. Hi! Hello! Welcome!
I'm joining. I was like, what's that?
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm really excited. As I was saying, oh my God, thank you so much for being my guest today.
I'm happy.
So where are you now?
I'm in Luton. It's like a tiny town north of London. I'm at my family home, basically.
I see. Okay. And you are based in Zurich though, right?
Based in Zurich. So basically, since lockdown started, like I had quite a tough time with my mental health, like literally in January to February. So when lockdown started, my sister called me and she was like, come back to the UK. You're not staying in Zurich alone. So I came back since March. And then I go back in August to start performing again. So it's been great being home with family. And then I go back.
Okay, well, sounds good. So you're enjoying your family time then?
Yes, it's been amazing. It's been healing. It's been like my mum just cooks like so much food yesterday, and I was like just eating all the food. So it's just like so nice and healing being back home. Like it's amazing.
That's amazing. I just came back from 2 weeks in Italy at my family's, so I had the same thing: healing, eating a lot, just enjoying the origins and the where like your I don't even know. Yeah, I mean where you come from and your beloved people. Okay, so I will ask you about lockdown and mental health in a second, but I wanted to. First of all, I'm really excited because basically we never actually spoke in person, because I've seen you performing at Chisenhale Gallery in 2018, connected with you because I really felt the energy and like the strength and the power of this performance. You were like twirling as a dervish in the gallery with this like silver sequin skirt, like, and I was like, oh my God, I love that person. So I was so drawn to you as an artist, as a performer, and finally, like, this is, I mean, I don't know, I can't even express, and I'm so happy you accepted to be a guest of the series. But also, I think the series is called The Body Talks, and I think that your body talks quite a lot, right? Whoa, pun intended. So first question for you actually is, how does your body talk? What does it say?
My body. I mean, for me, it says words can't communicate. Like words, literally, I think they're quite primitive, actually. Like they really restrict the actual communication. Like as you try to speak, it's almost like your body is like congested from that. Like for me at least, like I had a lot of anxiety, so I ended up moving a lot. I was just moving, and that was kind of my way of speaking to myself, and then eventually speaking to others. And I think I just feel like there's just so much to be said still. Like I just think
Yeah.
that what my body says, there's more, and you'll never know, you'll never truly understand. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's a beauty in that. And there's a beauty in not being perfect. There's a beauty in being just the self, just a being. I really do have a spiritual connection. So I feel like sometimes it's not even me speaking, it's spirit speaking, it's
Okay.
energy speaking. See.
Yeah. That's so. Let's get straight into your practice. But actually, so can you tell us a little bit about what you do actually? And then we go into your research and practice.
Yeah, sure. So what I do right now is I perform in theatre. So at first I studied dance at university, and then I just started working with this artist called Tragil Harold. Some people might know who he is. And then ever since working with him, I've just had other tours like come up. And between then and now, I've just been working on my own practice, which is like a meditative flow, um, kind of just reconnecting with the body and the self and with spirit, and with the cosmos. Basically it's very airy fairy. But I kind of went through a long journey of accepting that about myself and accepting that about how I feel dance translates, not translates, but how I feel about dance. I think how I felt about dance before was that I have to be perfect, you need to do this and this and that. But over time I've just been practicing and practicing. Like I do a lot in my room. Like I'm very like, this is why COVID is perfect for me. Like I'm a bedroom um bedroom practitioner, if that's the same. I stay in my presence and my own space, and I just move and meditate through the ideas and the thoughts that come up.
That's beautiful. And you also said that you work from a place of mediation and oneness. I love that concept, and I would like you to like explore that, to explain a little bit about where
Yeah.
does your where does this come from?
Yeah, I think being black, especially being I don't use the term POC. Being black, um, there's this thing with everyone with feeling very disconnected, like from the world. Disconnected in the sense that you're seen, you're hyper vigilant, like people see you all the time, people notice you all the time, but they don't really see you, because they project who you are. And so for me, you know, for a long time, I kept thinking I'm separate from everybody, I'm separate from everybody. And then eventually one day I recognized we're one. We actually are one. And the one thing that connects us is that we all have flesh, skin, bone, and we all just want to feel. And we all have fear, we have joy, we have love, we have um, pain as well, a lot of pain. And I think the oneness thing came from, it's really difficult because I'm very, very new on this journey with oneness and with meditation. Like not the journey itself, but speaking about it. And yeah, it's just I think recognizing we are one really helps me recognize what I'm supposed to do with my body in space, which is to just keep being, keep moving, keep doing, but with a wholesomeness about it, with a sense of recognizing that I'm not separate from anyone else. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with us all being interconnected. There's a beauty from it. And I think it creates a conversation of empathy, and gives people a space to look back into themselves and to see themselves in me, see that as much as I'm not perfect, I'm still trying. Grace is still trying and doing.
Yeah. When did you start meditating and incorporating that into your life and your work?
It's so funny because I think meditating, like without resisting meditation, I probably started like this year actually. I think I used it since the beginning. Like, I started moving as a kid, I would always be like, like just like in my head, looking in the mirror. I used the mirror a lot as a way to to really just look at it, to look at my reflection into the mirror and to clear my mind completely. So I'll just like, if I look at myself now, I'm just like, okay, clear, clear. Yeah, yeah. And then over time, continue moving. And then eventually I get to a state where my mind is clear and then other thoughts come in. But the other thoughts are things like images of my past, like maybe something that I didn't think of for years. And I'm like, oh, whoa, I didn't think about that. Let me process that. And then I'll think, oh, I didn't realize subconsciously I was also worried about that. And then as I'm dancing, I'm thinking through these things. So yeah. And then with the meditation, eventually, basically, I used to move because I was running away from myself. Eventually, I started meditating in stillness and listening to guided meditations. And that's when I started recognizing the oneness as well. So it's like, as I moved, I recognized myself. As I stayed still, I recognized we're one. So I started meditating. I've always been meditating, but meditating in stillness in January. It's like,
Yeah.
with dance, it feels like meditation to me. I think that's the fascinating thing. And moving as well, it feels like meditation to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, me too. I started meditating this year, really, actually, from with lockdown, and I've been doing. Yeah, I've been along this journey of self-awareness and discovery, and yeah, I'm like similarly. I tend to move a lot. I tend to be always doing something, like walking around, jumping around. I love dancing as well. But recently I've been trying to explore stillness, which is something totally alien to me because I've never really like calm and stuff. So I think having a good balance between the movement and the stillness is like vital for cherishing this like meditative state and this self-awareness and the healing through
Yeah.
that. um so you created a piece of art, or more than one, like you did some research, or you created something during lockdown that has to do with mental health, with stillness and movement, which is something that has to do with technology as well. So I was really interested in seeing this. It has to do with simulation and virtual reality. Can you talk a little bit to us about that? That's so interesting.
Totally. So like, actually, just to go off the thing you just said earlier about like the balance between moving and staying still, it for me is like yin and yang, and actually bringing them together into one thing. Like bringing together your masculine and your feminine energy. The masculine, it always wants the feminine energy wants peace. But then in reality, the feminine is the one always moving and the masculine is the one standing their ground. So it's kind of, that's why I like you saying that helped me realize that as well, that there's the balance is really important. But yes, so with the simulation piece, so basically I have a thing where I was in a hotel, I was on tour. This is when I was literally on the brink of really just losing myself. And I just, we was in the hotel room, and then what happened is this man, the people who work in the hotel, one person came in and they changed my juice for me. And then I looked and I was just like, wait, hold on. Life is like being in a game of Sims. It's a Sim. And I was like, the only thing which really just breaks that, which changes that, is that we have to go out and get food. Otherwise, it is like with Sims. I recognize it's kind of like, for example, I don't know if did you ever play the game?
No, I know what it is, but I've never played really. But I've seen your video and I kind of understand. But yeah, you can explain for all of us that haven't played before.
So the thing with the game is you start off as a basic sim, plain sim. You're quite poor. You are poor. It's not even inverted commas. You are poor.
Yeah.
You have a TV which is really cheap. You have to learn to play instruments. You have to build your skills basically. You have to look after your sim and you have to build their skills. You have to build. You have to. You don't have to buy food. That's one thing you don't have to do. But everything else you have to buy. You have to maintain it. And what happens is for example, the most basic example of how it kind of introduced you to the world of capitalism is you'll have a shower when you're first poor, and you know you have to shower 5 times and then you're clean. But as you get more and more rich and more advanced in the game of Sims, you can buy a shower which is really expensive and you have to just shower for 5 seconds and you're clean. It's the same with instruments. So you might first buy a little piano, which is like, the basic piano. But as you get richer, you can buy a piano, which is really expensive. You just have to do 2 instruments and you can gain skills really quickly. And I was like, this is kind of how it is in the real world, which is as you move upwards, it's easier in a sense. Like as you expand more, you get more coming into you easily, especially if you're rich. You don't need to struggle to shower 20 times. You don't need to struggle. You just shower once and you're good. For me, it started, for me, I was doing this a lot. At one point, and I think it was me recognizing the chakra above the head, because there's a chakra above the head, and so with me, I started thinking, what if I was a sim? What if I was a sim? And I just looked in the mirror, and then I just started allowing myself to just move, and I just followed, and then afterwards I started to recognize the body has a certain specific what is it called, alignment there, which I was following until eventually I broke it for myself. And I felt like this is what COVID is doing to us. They're making all of us align with each other, making all of us stay home. You have to stay home. No matter who you are, you have to either stay home or go to work to help others. So it's like we're either helping ourselves by choice, or you have to help others if you're an essential worker. And I recognize this staying home is the oneness. This is like forcing us into oneness. And with me, I felt like I was very well equipped for COVID before it started. And I was like, how can I express to people? How can I show people what I'm feeling? How can I show people that even though I feel isolated, even though I feel a bit alone, I'm not, because we're all connected, because we are all one. How can I create a space within a space? How can I encourage people to recognize that you can take control of just only your own body and only your own space, and that is entirely your responsibility, without once again telling people because once again this is why the body talks to me, which is I think the body can say in a way which is less I don't know if informative is the word, less forceful, less of a dictatorship. It's kind of creating myself as a mirror for people to once again just take time to project whatever they feel onto my body, to then hopefully go back and process what they got from it. It's really hard for me to talk about it because it's like all up in my head, but this is also part of it. The simulation is that sometimes our ideas, our thoughts, our being is all up above us in our heads, and we're not actually just coming in and processing it. And and then the collaborator who I worked with said he sees these images when I move, so he drew them around them, and then we had the conversation about it, and then it just all fell into place, like because I created the video first from my practice, because my practice has always been looking in the mirror. There's always been trying to work with, because growing up, I never expected myself to perform. I never expected myself to be successful. So I always just performed for myself in the mirror. And then eventually when I saw what the performance was happening on camera, I thought, let me just record this. And then I recorded it. The simulation thing came in with it as well. And then and now we're here. Yeah. I hope that made you like.
Yeah, no, it's really beautiful to see that there is something up here and you use your movement and your kind of like senses to try and process it and then incorporate it in your work. And then I love the practice of filming yourself while you do that, so you can actually both see yourself like you've been doing in the mirror, as well as actually allow other people to experience it with you, especially now that people can see you in real life. So I really love these. And so you said your collaborator then saw your video and created this sort of like seams visuals on top of it, so that to communicate with you and with your movement. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so I basically did the videos hoping one day I can do the simulation. Basically, I did the videos imagining that was above my head.
Okay.
So I did it imagining I'm going to eventually get someone to edit it above my head.
Okay.
And then when I got it edited, I was just like, yay, it's whatever I wanted to say. I don't know why I wanted to say it, but it said it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I really love the concept of the mirror and the fact that you've always been kind of like in dialogue with yourself. So your body was talking to your soul, that was talking to yourself, and then back. So it's this constant dialogue that then came out and then was shared with the world. But so where did all this come from? Like, what is your journey? Like, when is, like a therapist, when is your first memory of you looking at yourself in the mirror and thinking something and then acting upon it? God. Earliest memory of the mirror.
Earliest memory of the mirror. Wow, I like that. I want to write that down. The earliest memory of the mirror. Oh, definitely college.
Okay.
Calling it the wrong thing. So university, because I studied dance at university and we had a lot of practical classes, I just couldn't help but notice that when I look in the mirror, when I look at myself, everything can just follow. It doesn't mean it does. I believe we get a lot of blockages from telling can't do it, or telling ourselves we don't know, or telling ourselves we're not good enough. But if as you just look and look and look and recognize that person in the mirror is just there, you can just enjoy the movement in space and the openness in space and the openness in your own body. So my first memory was definitely just in classes, in technique classes, in college, where I would just focus and I would just be on it. And for myself, for my learning, as opposed to for the teacher, because that
Yeah. And how did you basically from college to being a performer for an artist in an art gallery, how do you get there? What's going on?
Oh girl, I was lucky.
Well, yeah, honestly, luck.
Honestly, it was like I was working as a receptionist at the British Ballet dance studios. I was just a receptionist there, and I just, I finally got a friend to record me dancing. So I was like, okay, let me start applying for jobs. So I applied to work with Trajal Harrell, and I got the job. Basically, he only accepted 12 dancers, and I was the only female. I think I was the only female dancer accepted from in the UK. And we did the performance at the Barbican Centre. It's just that it turned out that Trajal Harrell is the world's best choreographer at this point in time, and you can find Wikipedia, and he's super famous. So he kind of people saw me perform at Tragels, and then they started inviting me to stuff. For example, with Paul Maheke, even though I applied, they already knew who I was and they were seeking for me to be part of it. So when I got there, it was what they, when I got there, they was like, "Yay, you applied! Great, okay, let's work with you." So
yes.
and then Paul Maheke introduced me to someone else, Likia Lewis, who I then toured with as well. And then when I was at Trajo Harold's job at a Barbican Center, these people who I'm in Zurich within Zurich now, hi Canada. Basically, the people who I'm in Zurich within Zurich now, they saw me perform just once, and they said, "Come to Zurich and join us to be in the ensemble in the theater." And I was just like, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I'm doing for the rest of my life, so
That's beautiful. Ow!
it's just been, but they've all been Black and they've all been queer artists, which I think has made a very big difference to my confidence, has made a very big difference to how I can freely express myself within the studio, outside the studio, and in my body. Like Trajo Harold loves the body, he loves emotions, he loves fluidity, he loves divas, and I was just like, yeah, let's do this. He loves the energy I have, he loves that I'm just very experiential with how I move, and he loves that I'm very spiritual and very I dedicate myself to what I do. And then Likia Lewis, she liked that I'm very what is it, like a cartoon, like a very expressive in my body. And all these artists like just really wanted me to be my best self, and I think that made a very big difference. And in Zurich as well, when they saw me, they was just like, this girl has a lot of potential, let's take her and let's just go with it. And they took a big risk with me. They took it because I'm a kid for theatre in a sense, but they were just like, fuck it, and I was like, yeah, do it.
Oh my god, I love this so much. In fact, I was thinking, like, exactly, then how do you join an ensemble at theater in Zurich and perform there regularly? Like, this is how you do it, just being yourself, do your work, and then eventually people will be like, okay, I want that person with me. And I also love what you said about feeling that the space was like an inclusive space for you. So you felt you could actually be yourself and feel part of something.
Yeah.
And I think there's not like, it's quite rare nowadays still to find spaces where you can feel part of, and right. So I'm glad that you found that space that surely will enable you to just, I mean, that is already enabling you to express yourself in the way that you feel like. And because basically what I wanted to understand is, how do you balance basically being employed with like being self-employed? So doing something that someone else directs you to do, and do something with your own practice in your own time, with your own self-discipline. And how do you balance that? But it feels like it's quite on the same page, right?
Integrated, yeah. That's the thing. The beautiful thing about working with Trajo is his work speaks to what I want for the future of dance. Like the way I've looked at dance with its progression, and the way I was like, oh, dance needs to go this direction. He does that, and he did that. And so working with him, it was like almost like confirmation and validation that whatever I believe with dance and movement is important, and it's special. And yeah, because I get a lot of time to myself, like loads of time to myself.
Loads of time.
Like, I think I'm just very lucky I've had family supporting me. Very lucky that I got these tours immediately. Like before I, got older, because as you get older, you build debt. You get the loans, you get these things going on. I didn't have time for that. It's like literally, I graduated a year, I'm working. After that, I'm touring. And then I actually needed more time to work on my mental health more than anything. But during the time I was touring, it really just helped me accept and validate my movement and my practice, which is a non-practice, which is a practice in itself.
Yeah. So how often do you tour then with the theater?
Oh, good. I mean, basically the last 2 years, I had been mostly touring. So I did more touring than I did staying in one place. It's actually only this year that this is the most stable I've been staying in one place since I'm 22 or 23. So it's been, I'm 20, 25, 25. So it's been 2 years of going and going, like literally, like we went Abu Dhabi, then we went to Berlin to do something, then we went to Dusseldorf, then we'll go to, I went to China once, like,
Ah,
just all over the place.
beautiful.
And it's like different artists. So with Trajo Harold, like he likes to do everything everywhere. So we do creating, because we do a lot of creating, because what the thing is as well, I've been involved in creating works with these artists as well as performing it. So it's not that I just go learn the choreography and go, I learn, we learn each other, we go through processes, we have conversations, we practice with different things, and then we create the work together, and then the tour happens. So that's what's been predominantly my work, which is we've been touring, but I've also been creating with the artists and collaborating with the artists. The same with Paul Maheke, actually. It was the same thing. He was my first job. He was one of my only jobs in London, actually. Like,
No way!
but literally, I think I performed in London after the Barbican like twice. Other than that, outside the country. That's why I'm kind of like, fuck the UK, because no one here wants to, apparently. It's so funny.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, whoa. I'm just taking in everything you've been saying. I'm like, whoa.
Sorry, I'm a massive talker. I'm a Leo Gemini who's into astrology, so my brain is all over the place.
Are you a Gemini, you said?
Yeah. So I'm a Leo sun, Gemini moon, and ascendant.
Okay. I'm a Sagittarian. Babe, I think we got along quite well. Okay. Right. I have a question, because so you define yourself as non-binary, but you've been saying when you refer to yourself, you said, "Oh, that girl," blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about how you define yourself, and what actually does non-binary mean for the people that are not updated on gender definitions.
Definitely. Let's do that. So
let's do the basics.
Non-binary, it's funny, at least for me, like I definitely want to talk from a very personal place, which is growing up, I never cared. I just didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a damn. I am me. And I don't care what you think of me either. Like, I was just always that kid. Growing up, I remember when people used to say gender neutral. On other terms, before non-binary came up, there was other terms which I referred to myself as. Just because I was just like, I don't want you to stop trying to control and dictate my gender. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that. Like, I'm just so stressed with other things. The gender thing is just another stress, and I just threw it out the window, threw it in the bin. So this is why. And so with non-binary, basically, it is about it's about really identifying what gender is to you. And, you know, this is why I can only speak from a personal place, because some people say non-binary is a different thing. Others say non-binary is another thing. And yeah, I refer to myself as she because I feel like I'm, still unlearning the gender norms. It's very difficult to unlearn the gender norms. And part of the struggle with the unlearning is I still feel like I have feminine energy. And I feel like I see feminine as energy as opposed to a gender construct. So, and I feel masculine is another energy, which I don't really give much of. Like, it's very like masculine energy. And I don't have an issue with it. I just know it doesn't resonate with me. Like, I don't resonate with sternness, and I can't even explain it sometimes.
Yeah, but I understand really well, to be honest.
and I just feel like I'm very adamant with representing what it means to be a feminine energy as opposed to a woman as well. And that's why I say non-binary still, because I don't believe there should even be any form of binary in gender. I think it's all construct. I think it's all projections, and I don't believe in them. But I'm still in a little strange place with that myself, actually, as to whether I call myself she, because it's funny actually, because I can speak to some men who identify as men or as a man, and I'll say I'll say she sometimes to him, to him, because it is feminine, and then you know. He, when I read the energy, as masculine, and it's just always been that fluid for me in the way I perceive it. So when I talk about myself, like, I guess I really don't really associate myself with masculine sternness and masculine energy. So it just doesn't come out. I don't really call myself he.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's clearer, and I love this so much, really. And yeah, so you work with a lot of with other queer artists, you said. So do you find, like, in dance practices, the being like being I don't even know how to ask it, but do you feel like but how can I ask this question? The relationship between feeling free to express yourself, queerness, and dance, like, how do you feel this connection when you work with your company, but also with other projects that you work on?
It's so fun. Like, working with Tragel is so fun because, like, literally, I'm firstly, the guys are attracted to each other. So I'm like the unattractive one in the room because they're all looking at each other, and it's not, and it's funny. It gives you a certain type of freedom because I could be like, yeah, my legs in the air, and just naked. They don't give a shit. Like, they're not looking at me, and so it gave a certain sort of freedom which you don't get in other spaces, like in a sense that I think usually being the woman in the room, you're expected to be the beautiful one, and you're expected to be the one who brings the feminine energy. You're expected to be the beautiful, gorgeous. I was like yob, like I was just like oh god, it's like, and then the other guys were like, ah, no, 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 and I'm like, they look at me like, why are your nails not done? Why are you wearing those clothes? Why do you look like this? But it was just fun, like, in the space, in a sense. And it's just like, once again, it's like it was strange because it's only when I come out of these spaces that I work in, I recognize that gender norms are still so strong, because I just feel so far removed that it's even hard to explain what it feels like, because that's the thing. Feeling is usually only ever in comparison. Sometimes, and your experience is only ever in comparison to a norm. And because I've been so far removed from the norm, all I have is my experience of joy and my experience of enjoying being myself, enjoying being around men and women and non-binary people and people who just don't even know what non-binary means. Like, we have all sorts of people, but once we come into the space, like for example, one of the tours I had, it was 4 women, so it was 4 of us women. I was the youngest. The eldest was 50. The eldest was 52. She had 2 children my age, and then the rest were about in their 30s. And it was just so fun, all of us working together, just being a bunch of divas, and having to somehow manage being divas, sharing space on stage. It was like a whole journey. Like now you like at first it was just like, how the fuck are we gonna do this? But after a while we became an ensemble. We became interconnected, and it was really, really nice to have that sharing a space with each other. And then with Paul, I love Paul, but with Paul as well, it was like literally he was so respectful to my that's another thing. People are very the artists I work with are very respectful to my identity, and I think it makes a very big difference to have your identity seen and heard, and respected as well, without being exploited, because that happens a lot as well in the industry. People will exploit your identity for their own gain, whereas they just kind of celebrate it because they celebrate themselves. Yeah.
Like now, because I took some notes, and now actually, so it's about, God, I basically what I do, it happens with all the interviews. I prepare like maybe 2 questions, and then I just go with the flow. But
Yeah.
when you guys, like when you just tell me such beautiful things, I get like, I need a few moments to absorb it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should just change everything and get into that. And wow, whew, I need to process this. Okay. No, and also I was thinking while you were speaking, how like I can feel, and I guess, and I'm sure everyone else who's watching this and who will watch this can feel your energy and your joy and your like way of being. And I love it so much, so much. And I also remember that I took a note about your actual name, and you told me that it means everlasting joy, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that, and your origins, and how you are basically the translation of your own name? How amazing is that?
Yeah.
Tell me.
I'm a firm believer of manifestation. It's funny because growing up, I saw my name as a what is it called? When it holds you back.
Like a weight, a burden.
Yeah, a burden.
Like
Name as a burden. I was like, oh, my name means everlasting joy, but I'm never going to be the happy one in the room. Like, this is what I told myself, like, as a kid especially. And it's like I gave myself this expectation that I have to be joy. Like, I have to be the most joyful person in the room. I have to, even if I smile, because I have a great smile. So I was like, even if I'm not happy, make other people happy with my smile. And this is the thoughts I had in my head. And then over time, over the years, I just started, unlearning, recalibrating my subconscious thinking. And I just recognized joy flows very easily from me. And I believe it's because my mom gave me that name with that intention. And I believe it's just really a manifestation. Like, I feel the name you're given is your destiny because you speak it every single day. And I kind of just started believing in it, and also believing in the nuances of what joy is, the nuances of what it means to manifest. And the thing is with me, like, joy flows because it's abundant. You can't run out. Like, you just can't run out. And I think it's because I'm grateful for the journey I have gone through. I'm grateful for the fact that regardless of my life and the obstacles and the pain and the stress and the anxiety, I'm still here. And I can still smile, and I can still celebrate who I am and celebrate who other people are as well. Like me, like having this interview for me is like, oh, that's a great thing. This is joy. I think what happened is, for me, I went through that journey with joy to learn how to teach joy through just being joy. And my name, is so special. Yoruba culture as well, being Nigerian, there's something about Nigerians in our culture with joy being the like the water of life, basically, like that you just let joy feed you. You let joy go into everything you do, the food you eat, the way you speak, the way you express yourself. And I don't know. I think we live in a world that is very pessimistic. I think we live in a world that really wants to celebrate pain more than it wants to highlight how the pain transformed them. And I think I just wanna, I think with the manifestation of my name, I believe I've been put on this earth to transmute pain into joy and to transmute experience into something of light, to illuminate the things that we believed couldn't be. Because in the end of the day, a shadow is only a reflection of what's really there. Like, you can't have a shadow without yourself, which is the joy, which is the light. So yeah.
Woo! You are filling me with joy right now.
Yeah.
I'm oh my god. Okay. This is so beautiful. This is I can't even express. I can't even express. I can't. I will process after we finish this, I think. But this is this is just amazing. Okay. So one last question, because I'm aware that the lives have a limit of 1 hour. But if you will want, I would love to have another interview with you at some point, because I want to explore more about dance practice. And to be honest, it has always been like my biggest dream and my biggest like passion, although I haven't really explored that much. So talking with someone that actually is doing it is just, my heart is bursting, to be honest. So I want to talk more about it, maybe do more research, and then ask you more, and we can go into more into detail about the practice. But just as a sort of like hint for probably the next interview, but also to wrap up what we've discussed today. And you mentioned like probably the future of dance, which is a massive topic that we will explore probably one day. But do you think that manifestation and embracing your own identity and your own energy is something that will be included or is needed in dance in the future?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's wild, the dance industry at this point in time. Literally, it's probably one of the most traumatic industries to be part of, which is wrong, which is absolutely wrong. Like, there's no two ways. You can't, like, I don't even want to ever sugarcoat it, that the way the dance industry functions right now is wrong. It creates trauma. It does not encourage people to be kind to one another. It creates an enemy in your own body by expecting yourself to be perfect. A lot of body dysmorphia comes from it. Like, it's just wrong at this point in time. However, to correct that, once again, I recognize just being myself could help, which is to be someone who knows that there is joy in being in a body. There is joy in being bodies in space. And there is a way to inspire people with your body without isolating others from yourself. And I think this is what dance does at this point in time. People look at someone do all of this and all of that, and they just look at them and like, oh, I can never do that. And I don't think that's what dance is supposed to do. I don't think dance is meant to alienate us from each other. I think dance is meant to make us feel more interconnected. This is what Trajal does with his work at this point in time. People watch his shows and they go home and they try and do it. And that's what you're meant to do, as far as I'm concerned. You're meant to watch someone move and you're meant to go home and think, I can do that, because that is what being an artist is about. It's about making people believe. It's about making people feel hope. It's about making people feel joy. And it's about making people accept their own emotions as they are, to not be like, oh, I'm this and that. It's no, none of that. And I think with dance at this point in time, it's a lot of, once again, giving people this sense of not belonging, to being a dancer, strangely enough. And being a dancer is about embodying yourself. It's about oneness. It's about really, because for me, oh, sorry, I should have explained this. Body, mind, and soul is everything. It's not separate. They are one and the same. The same way yin and yang is not the good and the bad and the good. It is one symbol. It is oneness. And I think, I remember basically I was in a lecture in school. It never left me where she said to be clever means to be good with your hands. And that was the first definition of what it means to be clever. And I was like, oh, so this is clever. Interesting. Interesting. Because for me, I was taught being clever is reading books. I was taught being clever, being intelligent is having a degree. I was taught being clever is being the brightest person in the room, which is what dance does as well. And this is why it's very problematic. So to be good with your hands means to literally be alive. And to be clever is to be alive. And I think we associate being intelligent. And once again, for me, I recognize the brain is not separate from the body. The brain is a muscle. The arm is a muscle. The eyes are muscles. The vocal, I started using voice as well because I recognize it's only with using the voice, it's just vibrating your vocal cords, which is movement, which is dance. So with me, singing is dancing in a sense. Singing is moving in a sense. And I think the future for dance, I really want to see more of this, where conversations and nuance, conversations are about oneness, conversations are about love and joy, not suffering and pain. Because once again, even though these things are essential, you need to find the joy on the other side. Otherwise, it's masochism. Masochism without the acceptance and narcissism.
And that's not the future of dance.
Yeah, no, it's not the future of dance. No.
No.
The future is bright.
Yes, the future is bright, joyful, and one and wholesome.
Oh
my God. I mean, again, I will stop rambling saying how amazing this was. You really filled my heart, and I cannot wait to just speak to you, talk to you again. Thank you so much for all these and everything you shared with us and with me. Yeah, beyond. I can't even. But yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, where can people find you if they want to connect?
Well, my Instagram. I don't have any other socials. My brain, I'm still trying to enjoy. Oh, you just missed it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Simona, hi. I'm gonna post it on Instagram TV now so you can rewatch it. It was great.
So yes, you can find me on Instagram. LAY is there. You can find
me. I'm gonna.
Schauspiel House Theatre in Zurich. I'm performing there for this year. I'm going to be performing a tragedy in September. Then I have another show in November. Then if you want, I'll be in Russia, in Moscow, in January with tragedy as well. And then I think for the rest of it might be possible I'm going to other places to perform. But in regards to doing my own work, I'm also hoping to do that within the next year, but that's all in conversation. Hopefully I will put all of this on my social media, basically, because I have nowhere else. I'm getting my life together.
You don't even have to justify having a social media. Having your Instagram is enough, even not having it. But everyone can find everything there, and I will try and share everything you do and your new projects so people can go and look at them. And I want to see you dancing as well, so update me and I will update everyone so that people around the world, they will be able to see you, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was so beautiful. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for making this space. It's really important that the body is being talked about, because COVID, I think a lot of people are dissociating, a lot of people are scared, and it's good to just bring conversations like this. Like, as much as there's people like me being, there's people like you being and creating the spaces which need to be created. So thank you so much for your energy and your can't do a heart. Creating that because yeah, honestly, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a lovely rest of the day and speak
You
soon.
too. Speak
Bye.
soon. You see. Bye.
Bye.